Welcome to the...
Jeez.
Works really good. City of Littleton Planning Board meeting, August 23rd, 2015.
August.
Oh, no, March 23rd. Tonight we have one public hearing for the Resolution 08-2015 conditional use permit for Tank South. And we have one item on general business for Resolution 07-2015 Littleton Village Replat 3 Subdivision Preliminary Plat. I will be recusing myself after the Inc. I have a conflict of interest on the Littleton Village, so I will be done after the public hearing. Let's start the meeting with roll call.
Chair Duzan.
Here.
Board Member Elrod.
Here.
Board Member Bolt.
Here.
Board Member Graham. Board Member Moore. Board Member Miles. Board Member Runicki.
Here.
Board Member Samuelson.
Here.
Board Member Schrader. We have a quorum.
Thank you. First item, approval of the minutes or certification of the video. Have we all had a chance to review the video, and do we have a motion?
A motion based on the recording secretary's certification, the January 26, 2015 video as the minutes for the January 26, 2015 regular meeting, and the February 9th and March 9th videos for the February 9th and March 9th, 2015 study sessions of the planning board be approved.
Second.
Second. Let's vote.
Motion passes with a vote of 5-0.
Thank you. So the next item is scheduled and unscheduled appearances for anyone in the attendance who'd like to address the board on a topic other than the public hearing tonight. I don't see anyone. Before we enter the public hearing, tonight is my last time on the board. And I just want to say to my board, it's been a lot of fun and a lot of a pleasure working with you. I think we have one of the better boards, although I've only been on one term. I would have liked to have stayed on, but I'm not. So I pass it on to you guys, and I look forward to hearing what is done with the corridor plans and the sub-area plans and the neighborhood plans.
So, with your insider information, will you become a chief antagonist?
I could be down there, now that I have the experience of what people do here. So, but I have enjoyed it, so it's been a learning experience, so thank you very much. So let's move right into the public hearing, and that is the Think Tank South. So Glenn, do you have a presentation?
Actually, Pam Hall will make a short presentation.
Thank you.
Good evening. I will be presenting the application for conditional use staff report for Think Tank South. If approved, Think Tank South will be located on the southwest corner of West Main Street and Nevada Street on the second floor. They'll be located directly above Angel Concepts, which is just west of Penzi Spices on the corner. Last month, City Council approved an ordinance amending the city codes in the conditional use sections in the land use tables to allow for tattoo and body art studios And some of the conditions of approval, the ones that were listed, was the first one, they can't be located closer than 1,000 feet from another studio. This does not apply since these are the first applicants in the city. There were other conditions that could apply to reduce the impacts. They included but weren't limited to hours of operation, parking, outdoor lighting, and security. Additionally, any signage that is proposed for this use needs to comply with the city sign code. To tell you a little bit more about Think Tank South, they're proposing a 1,400 square foot second floor tenant space located at 2506 West Main Street. This is located in this central area zone district, the CA zone district, also in the Main Street Historic District. Their clients base 90% of their business by appointment only. They are proposing hours of operation Tuesdays through Saturdays, 12 p.m. noon till 8 p.m., and Sundays by appointments only. Their clients are screened. A client will not be able to obtain a tattoo if they are under the influence of either drugs or alcohol. Think Tank will also be adhering to health department regulations, the Colorado Department of Health rules and regulations for body art establishments, and then also tri-county health inspections on an annual basis. So the criteria for approval for conditional use is stated under the Title 10, Section 8-1, involves size and intensity, which Think Tank prices and reputation will attract a wide range of potential clients, but mostly, as I said before, it's going to be by appointment only. The use will not be detrimental to the health, safety, or general welfare. Loitering and smoking in front of the store will not be tolerated. Mr. Sager has also received positive feedback and support from the Littleton merchants and also the community as a whole. The third criteria is that the proposed use will comply with the applicable provisions in Title 10 in the City Code and will not adversely affect the comprehensive plan. In addition to this new use, it will add vibrancy to Main Street, promoting the goals of the downtown neighborhood plan and the citywide plans. Section C also mentions the use will comply with applicable downtown design guidelines. Since this was an interior finish only, the design guidelines were not evaluated. So staff recommends approval of this application because it complies with Title 10, Section 8-1, the conditional uses, and 10-8-2R, conditional uses specific for tattoo parlors, body art studios. Staff also recommends conditions to include hours of operation, which they provided, and also to provide adequate parking. And Mr. Sager's already done this with an agreement with Reinke Properties. Is there any questions of staff?
Questions of the board? Mark?
Tattoo parlors cannot be closer than 1,000 feet apart.
Correct.
And I can't remember when the planning board forwarded a recommendation to council, did we recommend 1,000 feet or less or more? Does anybody remember?
You went with the staff recommendation, which was 1,000 feet.
We went with the staff recommendation. Okay. So would that allow another tattoo parlor downtown, that 1,000 square foot diameter?
It doesn't look like it. And this is pretty much the
Radius,
center.
I should say. Yeah.
This is pretty much center of Main Street.
Right.
So, and I think I showed you a circle on the map of 1,000-foot radius. And so pretty much that includes all of downtown. So I don't think you'll see another one on Main Street.
No. Maybe Littleton Boulevard or something along those lines.
Right,
Okay.
further down Littleton Boulevard. Right.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just a quick question on ingress, egress. Is there an entrance on Main Street? Is there also an entrance in the back alley to the
There is.
building?
There's stairs in the back that goes up to the balcony, and then there is an entrance on the front. It'll comply with all the fire and building code regulations.
I had a question regarding parking, more out of curiosity. So when they make agreements with Renke parking area, I assume that means that they're keeping track of how many spaces they've kind of reserved for other people in terms of these types of agreements?
Okay, Jan can answer that one.
I can answer this because I spoke to Greg on Thursday about it. He said that what they do is, because he had to make a correction in his parking agreement that he had made with Matt. He said that what they've done is they have guaranteed him 4 spaces for his customers, and they don't actually do reserved signs out there in their parking lot. He said he has several arrangements like this with other people, and they're allowed 4 spaces. Right now, he said he will actually do an assigned permit for them once his parking lot gets full, but he hasn't had a situation where his parking lot's completely full. So because of that, he doesn't tie up specifically these 4 spaces, for him, but they're guaranteed those 4, if that makes any sense. So he doesn't actually go out there, he doesn't actually have a reserved sign on 4 certain spaces at their format.
So if he had 50 spaces, he doesn't necessarily only give out 50 agreements.
Right.
Be 75.
Well, sure, he gives out more than he has, but he said he does that because he doesn't have a full parking lot. He's never had his parking lot full, he said, so that's what he told me.
So if it ever gets to be a problem, then would the city kind of look at it and...
Well, we'd probably look at it, but, I feel if it gets to be if Greg gets it full, then he will, since he's got these legal agreements with these people,
Right,
he'll have to start signing numbers and spaces specifically.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what he told me, so.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jan, while you're here, Jan, they make a parking agreement with Reinke, let's say a year from now, and you've approved this agreement. A year from now, Reinke rents it out to somebody else, and the agreement goes away. Does the city have a program for monitoring parking agreements on a year-to-year basis?
At this point, if he doesn't have that agreement, then he'll have to get spaces from somebody else.
So the question is, do you monitor it on a year-to-year basis, or how do you find out about it? Do you ask every year, or what's the deal?
Well, we don't monitor it, but this is actually a conditional use. So, and this is listed as one of the requirements, so we'd have to, keep track of this one.
The conditional use is for how long, again?
Well, it's for as long as this use is being operated in this site at this particular location.
Not every 3 years, or...
No, it's not a renewable one like the corrections facilities are, yeah.
All right.
Or were, yeah, it is, yeah.
Board Member Rudnicki, if you're concerned, we could add that in as a condition that he submit a copy of the parking agreement on an annual or biannual basis.
I think it's more of a curiosity thing. It's we do PDs and we have conditions on the PDs, and many years later I drive past the PDs and I see things that I know weren't allowed under the PD 15, 20 years ago, but are going on now, and I'm wondering how often does the city monitor old agreements and just go around, once a year to the city and check up.
Jan, before you go. Who opened up the can of worms on parking? So let me just make sure I understood on parking. So right now, this is being, one of the conditions for use is adequate parking, which has been defined as 4 spaces at Renke. Mm-hmm. That's how it's documented?
Mm-hmm. That's how it's documented. That's what he's proposed.
Okay. And so, coming back to Mark's comment, if that agreement is terminated, they would have to come forward again to address how they're going to get 4 spaces. Is that specific?
The way I would interpret it is if the Reinke agreement went away, then he would have to at least submit to the city another agreement with another property owner that has parking.
for those same
Yeah,
floor spaces,
yeah.
so it has to be the like agreement.
Yeah. And he indicated if he expands his business, he'll have to add more parking spaces.
Okay.
Does he get any credit on the street?
Well, no, and it is kind of interesting because he's actually in the historic district, and this property, actually, any use going into this building would not even be required to provide parking without doing a building addition. I kind of had a little confusion about that when I was looking at the staff report, but since the actual ordinance for the conditional use did say that planning board can apply conditions, such as parking, and he did make arrangements to provide parking for his customers and his employees as well, and his customers will be paying the $3. They'll be able to park at Ranky's as well, but they'll be paying the fee that Ranky charges.
They would or would not?
They will be, yeah. His 4 employees, from what I understand, are covered under the agreement that he's paying for. And then he indicated that with his advertisement, which is mostly on his website and through appointments and stuff, he would advise his customers to use the Reinke parking lot, and they pay the $3 during the day and the $5 at night parking that Reinke has for the public. Yeah.
Okay.
So did you just say that additional parking is not required?
Well, since this building is in the Main Street Historic District, our code has an incentive for properties being in the district that actually gives them a relief on providing parking, required parking. So, if his use was, any use going into that building would not be required to provide, parking on site, unless they were to add on to the building, and then they would have to provide it at 50% of that additional floor space. But so
if the Reinke agreement goes away, he does not have to come forward and...
it's kind of different.
Where you're putting a condition on that they do have to provide that additional parking. But if you take away condition number 2, then they don't need to. I mean, it's a nice, business thing that they did, but it wouldn't be a requirement for their conditional use permit.
Yeah, if this is approved as it's written, then they're required to provide parking 4 spots.
If this was another type of use, it's not a conditional use, and they were coming in to occupy the space, they would not be required to provide on-site parking. Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Any other questions? Does the applicant care to say anything? Or? Sure. We want to see it. Does it include artwork? Okay.
Roll up your sleeves.
Demonstration.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board. I'm Matt Sager, owner and artist of Think Tank South. I'm here tonight requesting a conditional use permit to operate my business out of 2506 West Main Street. I'm going to provide some information to you about Think Tank South and then answer any questions that you guys may have. I'll start out with the operation of my business. As Pam has already stated, 90% of our business is made up from scheduled appointments. However, our studio accepts walk-in business and tries to accommodate all clients. Our initial plan is to be open Tuesday through Saturday, 12 to 8 p.m., Sunday by appointment only, and closed on Mondays. Think Tank South will have a very definitive policy regarding our clients' conduct, and we want to ensure that our neighbors can be comfortable with our operation. We do not allow anyone under the influence of drugs or alcohol on site. Required documentation and release forms are filled out prior to any procedures. We take pride in operating a professional business and plan to be one of the highest quality studios in Colorado. We have earned this reputation by providing a clean, professional, warm, welcoming studio and art gallery that offers some of the best quality tattoos and artwork in the state. We attract a professional clientele from all walks of life. I have clients that are doctors, lawyers, firefighters, policemen, servicemen, professional athletes, such as Olympic swimmer Missy Franklin, Colorado Rockies players Nolan Arenado and Carlos Gonzalez. These clients typically spend 2 to 3 hours of time in our studio. They will need other services that downtown Littleton offers. Our clients will be visiting restaurants, shops, and other merchants and spending their money. We plan to operate in a fashion that will be very competitive and serve all potential clients while being very aware of our neighboring businesses. We will not allow any loitering congregating at our location. We have a waiting room and a private patio behind our unit that our clients will be permitted to use if they need a break. I am a member of the Historic Downtown Littleton Merchants Association, and I've introduced myself to the neighboring businesses. Our business will conduct in such a way that it is not distracting or offensive to any of our neighbors. We will be respectful and aware of our common spaces shared. Music will be at an appropriate level that cannot be heard by any neighbors, and we will expect and encourage our clientele to be respectful to the common spaces and not distracting to any neighbors. We adhere to very thorough and strict Colorado health regulations for body art establishments. We hold our shop to the highest standard when it comes to cleanliness. Although not required by Tri-County Health Department, all of my artists are licensed body artists in Denver County. Jeff McCarron of Tri-County Health Department is the health inspector that will oversee and annually inspect Think Tank South. As far as signage goes, we understand that we are occupying a historic downtown Littleton building. We will adhere to all city codes and regulations on signage and will acquire the appropriate permits for such signs. We are permitted one 8-square-foot projection blade sign to be hung above our front entrance. Our sign will be designed in a manner that will match with the quaint and unique downtown feel. As we've already discussed a little bit about the parking, I do have a parking agreement with Mr. Greg Renke to provide parking for my employees. I will also encourage my clients to use the Renke Bros lot, as it is located directly across the street from our building. Our website will provide instructions on parking, and it'll also inform clients of how conveniently located we are to the light rail system. With my tenant finishes, I will be upgrading all of the current flooring in the building, which is carpet, to a vinyl hardwood plank flooring. I will also be installing plumbing throughout that's required by the health department. I will be building a utility closet with a utility sink and mop basin, and a brand new 50-gallon hot water heater will also be installed in this closet. I'll be increasing the potential use of this space for the future and also increasing the value for the building owner. All appropriate building permits will be acquired for our tenant finishes. To conclude this, Think Tank South brings an art culture to downtown Littleton. It will provide more business for downtown merchants, and the tenant finishes will increase value and use for the building owner in the future. I've worked very hard to secure approval from the planning board and city council to change the zoning in order to operate my business in downtown Littleton. Think Tank South looks forward to being a successful business and an active part of the downtown Littleton community. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you. Does the board have any questions?
I do. Did you consider, so considering your hours of operation, because right now they're from 12 to 8, and given that it's also an art gallery, potentially acting as an art gallery as well, how would you address, maybe this is a question for Jan as well, if you're needing to stay open later to promote more of the art gallery component of the establishment?
Our art shows and the art gallery showings happen 3 to 4 times a year, and when we have an opening, that would be something we talk to the city about as far as staying open a little bit later on a specific night for that showing. There would be no tattooing going on at that time. It would specifically be used as an art gallery. Other than that, to see the art on the walls, you'd just be coming in from 12 to 8. It would just be during an opening.
Okay. So Jan, would that be a permit that he would get for an event or something like that?
I think if they, I guess my interpretation would be if they aren't doing tattooing and they are an art gallery during that period of time, that would be an allowed use and wouldn't necessarily have the hour restriction. Would you? Or you could specify it if you want to get down to that detail.
Do I want to, or is that a question?
You could. That you could stay open later for an art showing or something.
As long as it's permitted use, I was just, yeah, okay.
There happens to be the first, is that Art Walk coming up?
Fridays.
Fridays, yeah, for Littleton. So, but you won't be open Fridays, this Friday.
Not yet.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Mark?
Your art showings, is that people walking around with tattoos, or is it stuff on the wall, or what are we talking about here?
Paintings, sandblasted glass, wood cutouts, different types of art, not tattoos.
I see.
And
Okay.
it's an actual art gallery.
This is a question for you and for staff, or just a clarification. You say in your write-up that you will not have more than 20% of the second-story glass covered with any advertising or logo or whatever. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is that the city ordinance?
It
Not
is.
more than 20%?
I can't hear you.
It is in the ordinance.
And we'll answer that question.
It's in the design guidelines for downtown.
It is, so 20% maximum.
Correct.
Does it permit flashing lights of any kind?
It does not.
It does not. So your offer, you couldn't do it anyway, neon or what have you. It's not allowed?
Part of the design guidelines,
I'm
correct.
sorry?
It's not allowed as part of the design guidelines, correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking at the building here, and you're going to be on the second story. Where does your sign go? Do you know?
There is a projection blade sign for Penzies right on the corner. There's also one for Angel Concepts. Ours would be equally between the two of theirs, directly above the entrance on Main Street, going up to the two suites above.
Okay, so along that same line. Okay.
Correct.
Great. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Anything else?
Are you going to allow access for your customers from the back alley or
No, ma'am.
just from the front?
Just from the front. I'll allow access for our customers to be on the patio if they're going to take a break, but they won't be coming up through the alley into the building.
And where is the patio?
The patio is directly located behind our unit. There's access to a common space of bathrooms between the two suites above, and that common space also goes back to separate patios. The suite across from us has a patio, and we as well have a patio directly behind us.
Okay.
They're actually on the rooftops of Angel and Penzies.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
Do we have a public hearing?
Oh, I'm sorry. We have no one signed up to speak on the sign-up. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to address the board? Okay, closing the public hearing. Now, any questions, or is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the resolution approving the conditional use for Think Tank South at 2506 West Main Street.
Second?
Seconded.
Do we have discussion?
Well,
Mark?
just one comment.
Okay.
The free marketer in me is a little nervous about allowing basically a monopoly in downtown Littleton, but not that I want a tattoo parlor every 75 to 200 feet, but it won't prevent me from voting in favor of this. But 1,000 feet's a little steep for something that's becoming more and more mainstream.
Okay. Let's vote.
Motion passes with a vote of 5-0.
All right. The next order of business is the general business for, congratulations, for Littleton Village. Yeah. You get to sit here.
Seats with you? Okay. Randy.
Little bear up here. Jeez.
Okay. So is this Jan or who's presenting?
This would be Andrea.
Andrea.
Wow.
Maybe you can go up and help her.
Good evening, Planning Board. I'm Andrea Mimnaugh. This is an application for a replat within Littleton Village. Replat 3 specifically is a parcel of land in Littleton Village. Littleton Village is a 77-acre tract located at the northeast corner of South Broadway and East Dry Creek Road. The project was approved for mixed-use development in August 2013 with 3 land use areas. On the east end, there's a commercial district. In the middle section, it's mixed use. And the eastern portion, the eastern half, is residential, mixed residential uses. Since the overall project was approved, 6 of the 7 residential planned development parcels have been approved for the city for single-family and townhome development. Parcel N is the last remaining parcel in the residentially zoned eastern portion of property, and it's located between the 2 future landscaped boulevards, and that is East Hinsdale Avenue on the north, and on the south, that is East Dry Creek Place. You can see parcel N is the one to the east.
Could you go back one slide?
It's in the light yellow color.
Okay.
Between the 2 landscape boulevards, yes.
And they're wanting to borrow from where?
The density transfer?
Yeah, they're doing a density.
We'll get to that later.
Okay.
Okay. This is a diagram of the subdivision. Replat 3 is submitted by the home building company Century Communities. The proposed subdivision would divide the approximately 3-acre parcel into 70 lots for townhome development. Now, previously, the planning board had approved a preliminary plat for this parcel N for single-family development. But since that time, the applicant has reconsidered and opted going for townhome development. In this diagram of this subdivision, you can see the layout of the building lots. The townhomes would gain vehicle access from Hinsdale and Dry Creek Place. Within the development, there is a network of private alleyways to access individual garages. The homes are oriented to front onto surrounding public streets or onto greenways within the development. Pedestrian access is accommodated both on the alleyways and within the greenways. With approval of the preliminary plat, the planning board considers street access utility easements to serve the building lots. The applicable city departments and utility agencies have reviewed the proposal and found it to be in compliance with this criterion. Now, concurrent to the preliminary plat, the applicant has proposed 2 amendments to the general plan development plan for Littleton Village, and these requests are administrative, approved by city staff. The first is a density transfer from parcel M to parcel N, which would utilize 5 unused units from parcel M to get the applicant's desired 70-unit project. The GPDP includes language that specifically allows for density transfers between development parcels. The second amendment is to modify lot size requirements such that instead of a minimum of 1,500 square feet per lot, there would be an average of 1,500 square feet per lot. Staff supports both amendments, finding that they meet the intent of the overall Littleton Village General Plan Development Plan, and they are indeed appropriate in that they help accommodate a variety of housing types within the development. Staff finds that the Littleton Village Replat 3 subdivision preliminary plat conforms to the requirements of the zoning code, the Littleton Village General Plan Development Plan, and the city subdivision regulations, and therefore staff is recommending approval. And there is a resolution in your packet that reflects this recommendation.
Thank you, Andrea. Any questions from the board?
Could you show the map again of all the parcels? There you go. And which one is M here?
So parcel M is in the dark yellow color, and it is on the south side of the future Landscape Boulevard.
Parcel M would remain, although some of the units are transferred, that will remain single family?
That's right. That's been approved for single-family use, and there are remaining units left, and so they will be transferred to the north to parcel N.
So fuzzy, but the parcel next to it to the west, is that also single?
Parcel K in the light color?
Yeah, okay, all right.
Parcel K. That's also Century Communities, and that has been approved for townhome development.
Oh, townhomes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So what does the color coding mean? I'm trying to assess where the single family, where the townhome, and where there is a mix around the neighborhood.
The color coding actually refers to the 2 different home builders on that portion of the property. So the light yellow is Century Communities, and the dark yellow is Richmond American Homes. And the townhome developments, it will be on parcel K and parcel N. Now, the others will be single family, but I should also mention that parcel P, which is right across from the park there, is a small lot single family development.
So let me see if I got that. So K and N would be townhomes.
Yes.
Everything else is single family.
Yes.
With parcel
P.
P being smaller lot, single family.
Yes.
And so the gain in lot size in order to get to an average of 1,500, where is the gain in lot size happening? So there was a minimum requirement of 1,500 square feet, right?
100 square feet, yes.
And so something had to shift in order to get to an average. What shifted? So what got smaller and what got bigger?
Yes, so within the parcel N, there are, and this amendment only applies to parcel N, there would be several lots that would fall under the 1,500 square foot, and they would go down to approximately 1,300 square feet. And on the other end, there are some lots that are in the neighborhood of 1,800 square feet.
On parcel N, just on parcel N?
That's right.
Oh, okay. And just for comparison, what's the lot size on parcel P?
Parcel P.
Do you remember?
I think they are right in the neighborhood of 1,500 to about 1,700, possibly 1,800. There's some, difference in lot sizes just due to the configuration of the site, the dimensions of it, and working through all the different easements and access points that you need. So sometimes there's a little left over, and sometimes it's down to the minimum.
And what would be the size of these townhomes? Average square footage?
On parcel N,
Uh-huh.
I'll have the applicant speak to that. I don't have that information.
Andrea, I have one,
Go ahead.
if I may. You said that they're transferring the density from parcel M to parcel N, and then you said that the applicant doesn't control parcel M, that's under Richmond. So does Richmond have an agreement with them to move that density?
Well, the applicant can speak to that.
Shouldn't we know that?
Well, from our standpoint, the overall PD is really what we're concerned with so moving density units, whether it's from one person's ownership to the other, we assume they have their own agreement. But still, it meets the PD zoning, so that's what we are checking for.
What if they don't have an agreement?
And I might add that ultimately the PD gets amended and everybody signs off on it. So all owners sign off on it.
Question?
They don't have.
We'll save that question for the applicant.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Applicant, make a presentation.
You could state your name, please.
Mike Cooper with Century Communities, 8390 East Crescent Parkway, Greenwood Village. Good evening, Commissioners. I think all of you were here in September, I believe, when we came before you with the previous preliminary plat. But Century Communities, we build single-family homes and townhomes. And looking at the 4 parcels that we now own at Littleton Village, we thought it would be wise to get a third product in there. Right now we have previously we had 2 products. We had our single-family detached homes and a 2-story townhome product. And now with the proposal before you and the preliminary plat, we propose a third 3-story townhome product that will be a little more in keeping with Richmond Homes, what they're proposing on parcel P, and also for consumers another choice in terms of a size of a unit and price point. And as Andrea mentioned, we own the 4 light yellow parcels. Here's kind of a layout of all the different product types and lot sizes on the for sale portion of Littleton Village. This correlates to kind of that black box around the right side of the community. And on parcel N, which you'll see kind of right in the center, we're in keeping with how we've designed our product in our neighborhoods for the rest of the parcels, fronting them all onto internal courtyards or external to the streets, and locating all the garages on the rear alleys. So there's really no change there. Providing connectivity through all of the blocks, north, south, east, west, and connecting the parcel before you tonight has the fronts of the homes fronting against the fronts of Richmond's, as Andrew was saying, the higher density detached product here. So you have really good connectivity through the site here, through the block, through here, and I'll kind of show you another slide here that demonstrates that. So again, all of these are the alleys for the garages. Here's the boulevard streets on the north and the south. The footprint for these buildings are a little bit smaller, hence we didn't need the lot sizes provided for in the GPDP. That's why, since it's a 3-story product, has a more compact footprint, allows for a little bit greater setback along the streets, a little bit more area in these internal courtyards. So that's kind of the reasoning behind that. But the amount of common open space that will be provided is exceeding what's required in the general plan development plan. And over here is where they would be sharing the courtyard with Richmond's, which the fronts of those units would be over here. So this is a 3-story product. The units are on the smaller end. They're about 12 to 1,400 square feet. The price point will probably be in probably right around 300 to start, maybe up to the low to mid threes. So it's offering consumers another choice for us. This would be our a third kind of price point for us at Littleton Village. So we feel like there would be a good demand for this. We're proposing two different styles in the townhomes, more contemporary and a more traditional. And as you've seen before, our other product lines, along with Richmond's, has a blend of more traditional craftsman styles and some more contemporary stuff as well. So we feel like this is a good blend, bringing all of the proposed neighborhood blocks together that surround it, since this is kind of right in the middle. So yeah, we feel like this is fully in conformance with the general plan development plan and the new urbanist principles defined in that document. This will add only more variety, which I think enhances Littleton Village as a whole. We'll be providing high-quality architecture, and we really feel that this is only going to help to further complete the vision for Littleton Village. And if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them.
Any questions from the board?
Do you want to address that issue of the density moving from M to N?
Right.
Richmond
Yeah, we do
had?
have an agreement with Richmond that there would be no prohibitions for us to transfer density amongst our parcels. And since we all platted at the same time, it really wasn't an issue. There wasn't like Richmond was going to come back and propose apartments or something like that, or a higher density product. I don't think there's anything prohibiting them, but we did have an agreement in place that there would be nothing to prohibit the density transfers as allowed in the general plan development plan.
What about parking on these? Are there garages with each of these units?
Yeah, every unit has a two-car garage on the main level, and then there's parking for guests on the boulevard streets.
Okay. You show the drawing then, just on the boulevard, obviously, not in the alleys, obviously. Is there enough
No,
room
this one we're not proposing any parking on the alleys. And the other parcels, I mean, we could have some on the single-family detached. There could be driveways on the rears on many of those homes. And then we had a few parking spots on the other townhome parcel at the southeast, but not. I think there was like
There's no
7 or
space
8.
in front of the garage to park. It's
Not in
driveway.
not in the townhomes. No, those would be strictly for just driving through and driving into your garage.
Are the garages wide enough? Are they side by side, two cars?
Yeah, they're 2 cars side by side. There's no tandems proposed here.
Okay.
And you show walkways between the buildings running north-south, which is
Yeah, there's a common pathway here on this side of the.
between.
Here. Yeah, this is a courtyard area. So all these homes, the front doors are here in this landscape courtyard, and then going north, south, east, west.
Okay, somebody wants to visit somebody in the north unit, he doesn't have to go all the way around. He can walk through the center.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
As I'm looking at, any more, Mark? Do you have any more questions?
No.
So are there 6 units per building, essentially? There's 6 attached units? May I
Correct.
see
Yeah,
that
there's
correctly?
6 per building, and then 2 of them have 5.
Okay. And then who is going to be, given the size and the price point, who's the market that you're targeting?
Probably a young professional, maybe one to 2 children. The 3-story product is probably lending itself mostly to that demographic.
And is this a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom product?
Will be mostly 3 bedrooms. I think there's some with an option for a 4th bedroom.
And what was originally planned here? Was it single-family residential?
Correct. It was a block basically like the one just to the north there, right above it. So basically a clone of that block right there.
Editorial comment, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised your demographic isn't exactly what you think it's going to be. There will be a good deal of interest from 60 and up as well.
We have, I think that would probably, our single-family product, we hope would appeal to that demographic.
I think the townhomes will, too.
The two-story product, I think, probably more than anything, down here, I believe. In other communities, we've had lots of that age group interested in that, even though it is 2 stories.
Yep.
It's low maintenance, and I mean, all these lots are pretty low maintenance, but yeah, one of our homes has a first floor master option on the single family, so that could appeal to some seniors or older folks.
And what is the height on this 3-story?
I believe, depending on where you measure to, I believe it's 35 feet to roughly the midpoint of the roof.
Did we have a maximum height restriction here, or?
I believe it's 45 feet? 40 or 45, I think.
It's different parcels have different heights, I assume. Okay. So we're not sure what you say. You gave me a range here.
I couldn't quote you offhand. I can't remember off the GDP, but our product is about 35 feet, roughly to the midpoint of the roof.
And I assume the height in the PD was also at the midpoint. Okay.
Yeah, we're well under the maximum.
And for comparison to the 2-story that you have down below, what's the height of the 2-story?
I believe that's probably like 25 or 28 feet. It's like a 2-story product. To the top of the roof is probably 32, 33 feet.
Any more questions? All right, thank you. Do we have a motion or any discussion?
This is no public comment, I guess.
They're still asking for an action. Do you want us to?
Yeah, but no public comment.
Yeah, there's no public hearing.
Right. So we just...
But we do still
We
need
still
a
have a motion.
I
Then.
move to approve the resolution 07-2015, approving the preliminary subdivision plat for Littleton Village Replat 3 subdivision.
Second.
Any discussion, comments? No? Okay. Vote.
No, wait a second.
But we can't vote.
Randy, come back in.
Ghost.
Or he can't vote either way, so hold on, right there.
Passes with a vote of 4-0.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from staff? Any other updates?
Just an update on something I talked about at our last study session. So the corridor plan, I did mention we have an RFP out. That has come in. We have about 7 consultants that have put in on that. We just received that, so we should be up and running, within 30 days on that. So we will keep you apprised.
How many applied?
7 proposals.
7, okay.
Yeah.
And for which corridor plans?
That would be for Littleton Boulevard.
That's the Littleton Boulevard one, okay. And do we have an RFP out separately for the other ones, or?
So we'll be going to council in April to approve the intergovernmental agreement on the station area plans for downtown and Mineral. That'll be next month, so that'll be our agreement with RTD and the City of Littleton so they can give us money to do that. And we will probably put that RFP out, I think, the beginning of April, so beginning of next month.
So how quickly do you think that you'll be able to make a decision on this RFP after you go to council?
It can be right after that. We just have to put it out for a certain amount of time and then go through that process, which might take 30 days. So I'm thinking the beginning of May.
Okay. Okay. Anything else from anyone?
One item. I think it was our last study session. There was a draft of the letter explaining the intent of the house cleaning for the neighborhood plans, and that was to be. We had some comments, and has that been edited? And I haven't received a revised copy yet.
Right, yeah, there was some disagreement, I think, among staff. I remembered you saying you wanted to see it again, so I thought Dennis was going to get it out to you today.
I got an email today. So.
Did you get it? Okay.
No, I didn't get it.
Okay, I didn't
So
see
it
it.
did come out, and I think he was,
Just
I told him,
recently.
give you till Wednesday, because I believe Karina said, set a deadline.
He said by Thursday.
He said Thursday, okay.
Yeah. Do you want me to read the
Easy.
email? I think I got it around 4 or 5, though. It was pretty late. So.
Okay, all right.
Oh, is it that late? I just happened to notice it.
And I feel like I saw it on the Littleton Report or the Littleton Independent this weekend that it got posted. I saw something in one of the newspapers.
Yeah, there's an independent header.
You saw,
They have
you
a
saw it as
story
well?
about it? Because we really haven't put it out, because we did know you wanted final,
There was a story on it. I don't know if, I
probably
don't
from
remember
the
what
study
it said.
session, I would guess. Huh?
Okay. All right, so we are adjourned.